Guys, you all hear me? All right. Good afternoon, I'm Doug with Bostic. Today we're going to talk about our new high-performance cement grout. It's called Vivid. So this product is a cementitious grout that doesn't need to be sealed, has good stain resistance, fast acting, so it'll lock its color in, so you get a truer color consistency out of it. Walkable in 4 hours. So at 4 hours after you grout your floor, you can open it up to floor to walking traffic. You see I got 2 buckets, and you're kind of probably watching me mix a little bit. Unlike a lot of our competitors' products that have a specific water range, with Vivid we can go from 2.2, which on the thicker end, to 2.6 on a more fluid end. So I've got these 2 buckets mixed. This particular product is at the 2.2, the thicker consistency. This one's at the 2.6. So as you can see, how thick that one is versus how fluid that one is. So that's our water range. What we found is with a lot of contractors, they're not measuring water, they're not mixing full bags, and they end up with a lot of variation in grout color on the floor. Even though grout is probably the smallest portion of a tile job, it's the #1 complaint, is having wrong color grout or blotchiness in your grout. So with this range in water, we can allow the installers to either mix smaller portions of the same bag. Say again? Quarts of water. So it allows the installers to basically mix by feel and get a consistency that they like to work with, and still end up with consistent color throughout the job. Product is also fiber reinforced. There's small fiberglass fibers in it to actually give it crack resistance in the product as well. Grout floats, we didn't grab any grout floats. Should be 2 of them in the back. So like I said, with this product, we don't need to seal it. The chemistry of the cement actually will form tight enough porosity in it, in its curing process, that you don't have to put a sealer back on it to get stain resistance out of it. So also easy clean, fast setup. My colleague's getting some grout flakes, but bear with me a moment. We're a little rushed today. All right. So to show you the difference in the fluidity levels that you can go, you can see that one's very fluid, almost to a point where we could squeegee it on the floor to fill our grout joints. You know, definitely too thin. You wouldn't want to work with it at that consistency on a wall. So that's our high water mark on that one. Low water, you can see you've got really good sag resistance to it, holds the float pretty well. We could work with it on the ceiling, on a wall, anything like that. A lot thicker consistency, you can see. Probably want it thinner. In most cases, guys want it thinner on the floor. It spreads faster, spreads easier. Another nice thing about the water range, we can do our walls at this thickness, go up the bathroom wall, get it looser, spread it on the floor. When it's all cured out, we'll have the same color on the wall as the floor. So with any grout, we're going to install it basically the same. Using the float, we're pushing down on it. Where it's not as fluid as that fluidity, we can just basically spread it across the fluidity. You'll get it down in there. Where it's thicker product, you're actually using the float, if you're working on a wall or a ceiling, to actually force it down in the joints to fully fill them up. So, now typically we'll leave it sit for 20 minutes. You want to let it firm up, and like I said, it's faster acting, so it's only like 20 minutes that we have to let it sit. A typical cement-based grout, you'll wait 35 to 40 minutes for it to cure up enough to where it'll hold its color, where you won't wash the color out of it. A lot of people see this and have the fear that that's going to basically burn on the surface of the tile, and they're never going to be able to get that off the face of the tile. That's why I brought this board along with me today. So I grouted this board at 8 o'clock this morning when I got to the show. so that I could show you all, most cases, your worst installer on his worst day leaves you this on a job. Most of you are probably thinking, I'm going to be tearing that tile out and starting over again. In the case with this particular product, regular sponge and water, nothing special. Very minimal amount of effort. Comes right off the face of the surface. That was from 8 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock now, so what is that, 7, 8 hours that's been baking on the face of that tile. We're at a point right now, you can see my grout joints here. I was going to say we can still even tool them a little bit. Kind of get them to look pretty still after 8 hours. Next day, tomorrow morning when we come in, the grout in these joints will be at 3,000 or stronger PSI strength. We'll be able to actually grind metal on the grout joints. They'll be that stiff, but at 8 hours, we can still work them to get them to come out if your installer does a really bad job. Pot life on them, a lot of the fast-acting grout, we're talking how fast it goes, but we still get an hour pot life out of the bucket. So if we mix a full bag, we'll be able to take a full hour to get the grout out of the bucket, down on the floor, into the grout joints. So we were saying we're going to wait 20 minutes is what we want to wait. We know a lot of installers don't. So with this product, we basically try to engineer out installer mistakes or installer error and still get a good color consistent, hard, full grout joint. So even though it's only been 5 minutes or so with this grout on the tiles that I just did here, if we have an installer that's in a big rush to get on it, isn't waiting the proper time, we can still have him wash it. And he's not going to completely ruin the job for us. So again, this is a rough textured tile, a lot of texture to it. You can see in the spots right here, if you look, where we're coming across the joints, even at the 5-minute mark that it's been, there's minimal amounts of color that's coming out of the grout joints. We're at a point where the cure is already happening. It's already starting to lock that color in. We've got a fiber reinforcement in there to give it strength. If we got a little bit of flexibility in the floor, expansion, contraction, it's like fiber reinforced concrete. They pour it on sidewalks, garage floors all the time. Same kind of technology in a grout. Anything I missed? Any questions at all? Nothing? Doesn't need to be sealed. Color consistent, crack resistant, cures to 5,000 PSI. Open the job up to foot traffic 4 hours after you install the grout. Yes? Available in 25 different colors. I don't know that offhand. He's right behind you. Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions? Say again? It is cement-based. The porosity of it, the chemistry of it, and the way it cures, we can actually get the porosity to shrink enough that a stain won't get into the pores of it. It's considered a sanded product. It has a very small micron sand to it, so it'll go from a 16-inch joint. Right. 16th is a minimal standard NTCA minimum for grout joint on tile, so you can basically cover the gamut. Not too many instances where you see a 1/2 inch or bigger grout joint anymore. That has to do with the curing process of it. It has to. Okay, so it cleans off the surface of the tiles really well, but is hard enough in the joints because of the chemistry of the cement. So if you get your cement in a really thin layer, if you get this cement in a really thin layer, it doesn't have enough moisture. It's rapid curing, so it's using water to actually cure. So in a very thin film across the surface of the tile, it doesn't have enough to really firm up really good and hard, so we can clean it off hours later. Even 24 hours later, we can get it off. Whereas in the joint, it's got more water in the mix. So it's using that water to cure, and that's where it's getting its hardness from in the joints. Okay, so that's pretty much all I've got. You can come see us. We're over at 8125 Bostic. Any questions you have, color fans for different colors that it's available in, you can talk to our sales guys for distributors in your area. Other than that, I think we're good. Thank you.